Hi, this is the practice strategy called add a note. You can also use it as add a measure. You can also use it as backwards add a note or backwards add a measure. So to do this strategy, I'm going to share my screen with you. This is the song, Sailing on the Ocean. And how it works is you play the first note. If you get it right, you add the next note. So it sounds like this. First, I'll just play the first note here. When I get it right, I add the next note. If I get it correct, I get to add the third note. If that one was hard for me or tricky, I would just do it again. Once I get it, I add the next note. If I get that one, I add the next note. And so on. You just keep adding a note until you've either done the whole measure or the whole line or the whole song, depending on what you're working on. The add a measure works like this. You start by playing the whole first measure like this. If you get it correct, you add the whole next measure. So I'm going to add all the way up here to the word high. If that was tricky for me, then I would just do it again. If I get it correct, I add the whole next measure. If I get that one correct, I add the whole next measure. And you continue in this manner until you have done the whole section that you're working on or the entire song. Now the backwards add a note method means you start with the very last note and you play it. If you get it correct, you add one note backwards. If you struggle with it, you do it again. If you get it, you add the next note backwards, which would sound like this. And you just continue adding notes backwards until you've played the whole section that you're working on. The add a measure method means you start with the last measure, you play the entire last measure. Once you get it correct, you add the next measure behind it, going backwards. So now I'm starting on this note for the word you. And then you would add the next measure backwards, and you just keep doing that until you've played the whole entire section that you're trying to work on, or you have done the whole song. That is the add a note method, and it can be done with add a note, add a measure, or you can also do it backwards. Hope this helps. Happy practicing.